Mr. Washington, is everything okay? I see you're still here late.
Yes, Madam Principal. I just dropped something. No need to bother her.
Janitor never spoke about war until Principal saw his Congressional medal. When Jefferson Elementary Principal Sarah Chen discovered that quiet janitor Robert "Ghost" Washington kept his Medal of Honor hidden in his toolbox, she had no idea that the humble man who mopped floors every night was America's most decorated living Vietnam veteran. Jefferson Elementary bustled with morning energy as teachers prepared lessons and children raced through hallways. Coffee percolated while copy machines hummed with endless worksheets. The building smelled like crayons and hope. Here, educators shaped young minds while custodial staff kept learning environments safe. Most noticed the teachers. Few saw the man who made everything spotless. Robert "Ghost" Washington arrived at 6 p.m. sharp every weekday, pushing his cart through empty hallways with methodical precision. At 68, he moved with dignity that 22 years of night custodial work had refined into ritual. Children waved during after-school programs. Teachers offered polite nods. Parents barely registered his presence. What staff couldn't see were battles carved into Robert's careful movements. 2 Vietnam tours as Marine Reconnaissance Specialist, operations so classified their details remained secret 40 years later. Purple Heart recipient whose shrapnel wounds ached during winter months. His toolbox contained cleaning supplies, spare light bulbs, and America's highest military decoration wrapped in faded velvet. 3 decades of silence about service that had saved American lives while costing psychological peace that meaningful work with children helped manage. Robert's challenge transcended typical employment. It was finding purpose when society treated janitors as invisible fixtures rather than recognizing heroism hidden beneath humble service. Everyone's fighting battles you know nothing about. Tonight would reveal who understood that greatness often works quietly in shadows. Principal Sarah Chen worked late reviewing budget reports when she heard Robert's cart outside. Standard procedure required checking building security, but something seemed different tonight. Robert sat in empty classroom, staring at photograph that had fallen from his toolbox. "Mr. Washington, everything all right?" Sarah asked with genuine concern. Robert quickly tucked photo away. "Yes, ma'am. Just dropped something. Didn't mean to disturb your work." But Sarah had glimpsed military insignia and what appeared to be White House ceremony documentation. Her curiosity was piqued by Janitor, whose dignity exceeded typical employee interactions she'd experienced. "That looked like military photo. Did you serve?" Sarah inquired with respect that Robert rarely received. Robert hesitated. "Everyone's fighting battles you know nothing about, ma'am. Mine just happened in jungle long time ago." His careful avoidance of details suggested stories that civilian world couldn't comprehend, while his obvious pride in school maintenance work revealed character shaped through service experiences that civilian employment couldn't match for meaning. Sarah's gentle persistence revealed Robert's military background through careful questions demonstrating genuine interest rather than administrative curiosity about employee whose personal history had never been documented during hiring process. "Vietnam service must have been difficult," Sarah said with empathy Robert hadn't experienced from civilian supervisors. "Yes, ma'am. Did what needed doing, lost good Marines, came home, found work that mattered," Robert replied with dignity, concealing heroism exceeding civilian recognition. Sarah noticed Robert's careful avoidance of specifics, while his pride in schoolwork suggested man whose character had been shaped through service experiences requiring meaning beyond employment requirements. "Mr. Washington, would you mind showing me that photograph? I'd like to know more about Jefferson Elementary staff," Sarah requested with administrative authority, softened by human interest. Robert's internal struggle was visible as decades of privacy confronted principal whose respect might extend beyond typical employer-employee relationships. The moment hung between them like bridge waiting to be crossed. Robert opened his toolbox with trembling hands, revealing Medal of Honor in original case alongside photographs showing younger versions shaking hands with President Nixon during White House ceremony honoring extraordinary heroism during classified Vietnam operation. Sarah gasped, "Mr. Washington, this is Congressional Medal of Honor. You never mentioned—" "Don't like talking about war, ma'am," Robert interrupted gently. "Did job that needed doing. Good Marines didn't come home. I did. Seemed wrong making big deal about surviving when better men died." The revelation transformed Sarah's understanding of employee whose character exceeded administrative training, while his humility demonstrated authentic heroism civilian society rarely encountered. "These children don't need to carry weight of old man's war memories," Robert continued. "They need clean classrooms and safe learning environment. That's battle worth fighting now." But Sarah's discovery would reveal that some battles deserved recognition when authentic heroism had been serving quietly, while others received praise for lesser contributions. Something told her this story needed to be shared, but first she had to understand what Robert had actually done to earn America's highest honor. Sarah researched Medal of Honor database over weekend, discovering Robert's citation for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity, at risk of his life above and beyond call of duty, while serving as reconnaissance team leader during classified operation. Sergeant Washington single-handedly held defensive position against overwhelming enemy force, enabling evacuation of wounded Marines. The official record revealed heroism Robert's humble janitor role had concealed from Jefferson Elementary community whose freedom had been protected through sacrifice they'd never acknowledged. Monday brought new perspective as Sarah watched Robert quietly repair broken desk in third-grade classroom while children chattered around him, unaware American hero was ensuring their learning environment remained functional through dedication exceeding typical responsibilities. His interaction with students revealed character military training had shaped: patience with spilled juice, gentle guidance when children made messes, protective vigilance that kept learning spaces safe through professional pride transcending employment requirements. Mrs. Patricia Lopez, veteran teacher, noticed Sarah's increased attention. "Mr. Washington has been wonderful employee since I started here. Always goes above and beyond, especially helping students who struggle." Sarah discovered Jefferson Elementary served significant military family population whose children benefited from Robert's quiet support during parental deployments, base relocations, and family stress civilian teachers struggled to address without military experience. Her observation revealed Robert's informal counseling of military children whose academic performance improved through his encouragement, while their social adjustment benefited from his patient guidance during lunch supervision and after-school programs. "Has he ever mentioned military service?" Sarah asked Patricia carefully. "Only once, When Tommy Martinez was struggling with father's deployment to Afghanistan, Patricia recalled, Mr. Washington spent extra time helping Tommy understand that military families serve together, even when separated. Seemed to know exactly what boy needed to hear. The anecdote revealed Robert's ongoing service to military families through civilian employment, providing stability for children whose parents faced deployment challenges similar to experiences that had shaped his character. 8-year-old Maria Santos approached Robert during lunch cleanup. Mr. Washington, why do some kids make fun of my dad being soldier? Robert knelt to her level. Everyone's fighting battles you know nothing about, sweetheart. Your daddy fights his battles protecting people like your classmates. That makes him hero, even if they don't understand yet. The bullying incident that would change everything began during lunch when Tommy Martinez broke down crying after classmates mocked his worry about daddy's safety. Civilian children, ignorant about military sacrifice, called Tommy's father stupid for choosing dangerous job. Robert witnessed harassment while cleaning nearby tables. His intervention was swift but gentle. Tommy, walk with me to get fresh supplies. These young folks need to finish eating. Away from mocking classmates, Tommy sobbed. They said Daddy's dumb for being soldier, said he might die for nothing. Why are people mean about military service? Robert's response carried weight of experience. Your daddy's fighting battles so these children can go to school safely. Some people don't understand what that costs until they need protection. Sarah observed interaction while recognizing Robert's natural ability to counsel military children through challenges civilian faculty couldn't address without military experience, providing proper perspective on deployment stress. The moment crystallized her understanding that Robert's service continued through civilian role while his heroism remained hidden from community that could benefit from understanding authentic sacrifice. Sarah faced dilemma about recognizing Robert's service without violating privacy or creating a tension he'd avoided during decades of civilian employment designed to provide normal life rather than ongoing military recognition. Her respect for Robert's wishes conflicted with institutional obligation to honor military service, while educational benefits of sharing his story could inspire respect for veterans and military families Jefferson Elementary served. Mr. Washington, our Veterans Day assembly is approaching, Sarah mentioned carefully. Some students might benefit from understanding what military service actually means, rather than abstract concepts they study in social studies. Robert's reluctance was evident. Ma'am, children don't need old war stories. They need education preparing them for better future than fighting battles that should have ended long ago. But Sarah recognized opportunity to bridge civilian-military understanding while honoring authentic heroism that had been serving quietly. What if we could help children understand that military families deserve respect rather than mockery? Tommy isn't the only military child facing harassment from classmates who don't understand sacrifice their parents make. Robert's expression softened as he processed reality that his story might protect military children from ignorance he'd witnessed daily. The situation reached crisis when 3 more military children faced systematic harassment while their parents served overseas. Sarah's administrative meeting with parents revealed civilian indifference toward military families. Principal Chen, why should our children deal with military family drama? Complained Mrs. Henderson. These deployment issues disrupt classroom environments when military children act out due to family stress. The complaint revealed civilian ignorance about military service while viewing deployment as career choice rather than recognizing national defense requiring community support. Sarah's response carried administrative authority. Military families serve our entire community. Their children deserve our support during parental deployment rather than judgment from families who've never made comparable sacrifices. But she realized words weren't enough. Jefferson Elementary needed living example of military service to bridge understanding, while Robert's story could inspire respect for veterans requiring community recognition. Her decision to request Robert's participation created professional crisis as she balanced respect for privacy against institutional need for authentic military representation that could educate civilian families about sacrifice deserving recognition. Robert's agreement came reluctantly after witnessing systematic harassment. If sharing old man's story helps military children fight their battles, then maybe it's time to speak about things I've kept quiet too long. Veterans Day assembly planning revealed extent of Jefferson Elementary's military family population as parents volunteered, while Robert's participation attracted local media attention he'd specifically avoided. Sarah coordinated with Robert, ensuring presentation honored service without exploiting heroism. You'll only share what feels comfortable. We want authentic military representation, not publicity. Robert's preparation involved reviewing citation he hadn't read in 30 years while processing emotions civilian employment had helped manage through meaningful work serving others rather than dwelling on traumatic memories. The night before assembly, Robert sat in empty gymnasium practicing words he'd never spoken publicly. His hands shook not from age, but from preparing to share experiences he'd buried beneath decades of quiet service. Everyone's fighting battles you know nothing about, he whispered to empty room, testing signature phrase that had guided his civilian life. Tomorrow, those battles would finally have voice. Sarah found him there. "Mr. Washington, are you ready for this?" "No, ma'am," Robert replied honestly. "But those military children need someone to speak up. Their battles are harder than mine ever were because they're fighting ignorance from people who should know better." Veterans Day morning brought unexpected developments as local news crews arrived seeking interview with Medal of Honor recipient whose story had remained hidden for decades. Robert's comfort zone was completely shattered. "I didn't sign up for circus, ma'am," Robert told Sarah while watching reporters set up equipment. "You signed up to help military children," Sarah reminded him gently. "Sometimes that requires stepping out of shadows into light, where people can see authentic heroism instead of imagining what it looks like." Jefferson Elementary Gymnasium filled with students, parents, and faculty as Robert approached podium wearing maintenance uniform rather than military dress he'd refused to retrieve from storage. His presence commanded attention not through military bearing, but through dignity that authentic service had earned, while his humble appearance challenged audience assumptions about heroism requiring uniform or ceremony. Tommy Martinez sat in front row with other military children whose struggles had motivated Robert's public speaking debut. Their expectant faces provided courage he needed to begin sharing story that could change their school experience. The moment had arrived when everyone's battles would finally be known rather than hidden beneath comfortable ignorance that had enabled discrimination. Robert's voice carried decades of suppressed emotion as he began, "Everyone's fighting battles you know nothing about. My battles happened in Vietnam jungle, protecting Marines whose families depended on their safe return home to children like you." Student attention was immediate as familiar Janitor transformed into decorated hero whose story challenged assumptions about people they encountered daily without recognizing greatness, serving quietly. "Military service taught me everyone deserves respect regardless of job they do," Robert continued, eyes finding Tommy and other military children. "Your teachers, your parents, your classmates, everyone's fighting battles you don't see." His account focused on brotherhood and sacrifice rather than combat details, demonstrating how military experience could educate without traumatizing young minds, requiring inspiration rather than warfare explanation. Your classmates whose parents are deployed aren't asking for special treatment. They're asking for understanding that military families serve together, even when separated by duty requiring sacrifice civilian families don't make. Parents processed revelation that humble Janitor possessed America's highest military decoration, while their children learned about authentic heroism from someone they'd seen daily but never noticed, until his story revealed character exceeding their understanding. Mrs. Henderson, who'd complained about military families, approached Robert after presentation. "Mr. Washington, I owe sincere apology. My ignorance enabled my child's cruelty toward military families. How can we make this right?" The transformation was immediate as parents who dismissed military family challenges now understood sacrifice their comfortable existence had been built upon, while their children learned authentic values from hero who'd been mopping floors without recognition. Tommy Martinez approached podium. "Mr. Washington, thank you for helping me understand why Daddy's deployment matters. I'm proud of military service now instead of embarrassed." The child's response demonstrated Robert's success in bridging civilian-military understanding while inspiring respect for veterans and military families Jefferson Elementary had failed to provide through proper appreciation. Sarah watched community transformation occur as systematic harassment of military children ceased, while Robert's story influenced school culture, prioritizing respect for service over comfortable ignorance about sacrifice, requiring ongoing gratitude. Media coverage inspired nationwide interest in hidden heroes serving civilian roles, while Robert's example encouraged other veterans to share experiences educating communities about military sacrifice, deserving recognition rather than systematic invisibility. Jefferson Elementary established permanent Veterans Wall, while Robert became official military liaison, helping faculty understand deployment challenges affecting student performance, requiring supportive response rather than administrative judgment. "Everyone's fighting battles you know nothing about" became school motto as students learned empathy through Robert's example. While military children received community support his courage had inspired. 1 year later, Robert had become national advocate for veteran recognition while maintaining custodial duties, providing meaningful civilian service complementing military heroism through ongoing contribution to community welfare schools needed to acknowledge. His example inspired similar veteran recognition programs, while Medal of Honor remained in toolbox alongside cleaning supplies. Proving authentic greatness often served quietly, while waiting for proper recognition from communities whose freedom had been protected. Jefferson Elementary became model for military family support, while Robert's story influenced other schools to recognize veteran employees whose military experience provided valuable perspective on sacrifice civilian society rarely encountered. "Everyone's fighting battles you know nothing about," Robert told visiting educators, "but when communities recognize those battles and support people fighting them, everyone benefits from understanding that authentic service takes many forms beyond seeking recognition." Military families at Jefferson Elementary thrived through comprehensive support, while civilian parents learned respect for deployment sacrifice their comfortable existence had been protected by through service they'd previously taken for granted. Robert continued both roles, decorated hero and humble janitor, proving that greatest service often worked quietly among communities whose freedom depended upon people willing to fight battles others would never see, appreciate, or understand until authentic heroism stepped out of shadows into light, where recognition could finally honor sacrifice that had always deserved community gratitude rather than systematic invisibility. Robert's story inspired nationwide Hidden Heroes campaign recognizing veteran employees, while Jefferson Elementary became model for military family support through authentic veteran representation bridging civilian-military understanding, requiring ongoing community appreciation rather than comfortable ignorance. "Everyone's fighting battles you know nothing about," Robert told media interviews, "but when communities recognize those battles and support people fighting them, everyone benefits from understanding that authentic service takes many forms beyond seeking recognition or praise." Jefferson Elementary military families received comprehensive support, while civilian parents learned respect for sacrifice. Their comfortable existence had been protected by through service they'd forgotten to appreciate until authentic heroism was properly revealed. 5 years later, Robert had become elder statesman for veteran recognition while maintaining custodial duties that provided meaningful service complementing military heroism through ongoing contribution to community welfare that schools and society needed to acknowledge. His example inspired comprehensive veteran recognition programs while Medal of Honor remained in toolbox alongside cleaning supplies, proving that authentic greatness often served quietly among communities whose freedom depended upon heroes they rarely noticed until circumstances revealed hidden sacrifice. Sometimes, the most powerful heroism works quietly among us, teaching us that everyone deserves recognition for their battles, while authentic service transcends seeking praise to include humble contributions that communities depend upon but rarely notice until hidden greatness steps into light, where recognition can finally honor sacrifice, deserving ongoing gratitude. The strongest people are usually fighting battles you know nothing about, and sometimes those battles have earned them our nation's highest honors, while they continue serving in humble roles, showing us that authentic heroism transcends recognition. Greatness works quietly in shadows, and the people who clean our schools might be the very heroes who once protected our freedom. With courage we can barely comprehend, but should never forget to honor.